Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. Belinda here from Visualized NZ, and it's Trashcraft Tuesday. I so enjoy doing this series. It always challenges me to come up with something, and so far so good. So far I haven't come up with a blank, so excited about this project today. It's something I came up with this morning. Periodically through the night, I didn't sleep that well, my mind was going with I could do this idea, and I had a plan, and come this morning I completely changed my mind. That's how it goes. So for this project you are going to need some foil of some description. So I'm using the foil from Chocolate. A lovely subscriber asked me what to do with these wrappers, and to be honest, apart from using it in collage, I hadn't really used it before myself. So when I saw it in the box, when I went to grab the items for my other project that I'd thought up overnight, I thought, yeah, I'm going to work with this. And so I came up with something. So foil, and it could be different foil. It could be from an Easter egg or whatever you've got, whatever would normally be thrown out. And it's too pretty. Like, it's pretty. We want to use it. You'll need some card. So I'm using card from a tea box. I must also mention too that these two items of trash that I'm working with today, they have both come out of the box of trash that my neighbour collected for me. So I dove back into that box and pulled out some things from it to use. So it could take me a wee while to get through it. So I'm choosing a tea box just because there were a few in the box, but you could use whatever cardstock you like, cereal box or a bit of file folder, or just cardstock that you've bought if you don't have any trash to work with. But because it's Trashcraft Tuesday, I'm aiming to use trash, so tea box it is. And the foil, you'll need a craft knife and a pair of scissors and a ruler. A pencil or pen, doesn't matter, it won't be seen, so you can use a pen if you prefer. You'll need a nail file or sandpaper, something abrasive, some double-sided tape and some tacky glue, and black paint or ink or something that's gonna be dark and grungy. So I'm doing a grungy style today, but absolutely if grungy is not your thing, then leave off the black, or do perhaps another metallic that will complement your foil, or a bright color. You could do anything. So if grungy is not your style, don't worry, you can still do this and achieve a really nice look. Just so happens that I'm working with a grungy look today. And what we're going to do is I'll bring over my prototype that I've just finished making. I'm going to make little metal look frames. Can you see that? It's hard to get it without the shine on it. And see how I've gone for that grungy black, sort of blackened, dirty look, which I think would be super cool in a steampunk theme, or just as a vintage look. Anywhere you like, really. But yeah, I think it's super cute. You can make them whatever size you like. I'm just working with a small tea box, so that I've used the lid to make two bases, or this one and another base. And the bit of card I was working with was just under 5 inches by just over 2.5 inches. So I'm not working with a big bit of card, so my frames are naturally quite small. I could have done a longer one, but I thought I can get 2 pieces out of the one piece of card. So here's my one that I've already prepared out of the lid of the tea box. And what I've done is I've cut it, it's approximately square, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches approximately. It's slightly off. And then I went round the inside and measured off 1 centimetre. And I know I'm switching between measurements, but it was just easy to go with whole measurements instead of trying to work out that many lines after the 1 1/4 or whatever. So I measured off 1 inch from each edge, and then ruled that and cut that out. So I won't do that on camera because I think you'll know how to do that. You can make the border as wide as you like. I just thought this was a nice size for the size of the frame, but you could make it thinner or wider, depending on the aperture being the hole in the middle, how big you want that to end up. So let's get on. It's going to be a relatively quick project because I've already prepared this. So I've already cut into this bit to make this frame. So you need your foil. I did trim off all the torn bits and the bits that weren't great, and then I gave it a wipe down with just a wet wipe to get all the chocolate residue off. Because if you leave particles under there, then it could affect the adherence to your base. And then just make sure it's dry before you glue it down, because if it's wet, it's going to not stick either. Right, I've found it's better to use glue on one side and double-sided tape on the other. I tried to glue it and found it wasn't working when I went to do the second side, and then I put down double-sided tape and found the double-sided tape wouldn't stick because of the glue underneath, and it was all a bit messy. So learn from my trial and error. So to begin with, I'm just going to run around now I'm using the matte side, so the inside of the box, to apply glue to, because the glue will stick better to this side than the shiny box side. So I'm just giving a good coverage of the tacky glue all around, like so, and then plonking it down on my foil, on the back of my foil. And you want to leave some space around it because we're going to be folding it over the frame. Oops, getting glue all over me. Now you don't have to fold over the edges if you don't want to. You could just trim it flush. But I really liked, and you probably can't see, I liked the rolled over the edge so that I couldn't see the edge of the cardboard underneath. Particularly on the inside, I think is nice not to see that card underneath. So you could choose to cut it flush, but then you will see the card base. Right, now I'm just going to trim it up a little bit. So I'm leaving about 1/2 centimetre, give or take. Like, I'm not measuring it. It's just enough that I can fold it over the edge. Oops. Like so. And then, oops, it's sticking to me. I must have glue on my fingers. And then same on the inside, just running around, leaving about 1/2 centimetre, give or take. Just as long as you're able to get in there and fold it over. If you leave yourself too little, it's going to be really awkward to try and fold it over the edge of the card. So there we go. And we will probably be going to be using this bit too, because I did use the middle bit that I cut out on this other one. And then come in the inside corners, and I'm just doing a diagonal cut. Oops, there's a bit of glue there. I don't want to gum up my knife. Just get rid of that. From the corner of your card to the corner of the foil on the inside. So 4 little slits. You can see those little slits there. Hopefully you can. And then on the outside corners, taking off a triangle, not going right up against the card, just leaving a 1mm or 2 gap on the corner, and just trimming those corners off. Actually, they might be useful too. I was going to throw them away. I'll just leave them for now. I might end up using them. Okay, so far it's pretty quick, isn't it? The whole project is quite quick, so it's not going to be a long video. You'll probably say, hooray! Right, now I'm going to go in with the double-sided tape, and it's a little bit wider than what my frame is. Oops, and I didn't line it up very well there, so it's even wider but it doesn't matter if it's wider, because when you fold it up, it'll just fold back on itself and it will work perfectly fine. So I'm just going to do one side at a time. It's easier to manage and make sure that everything gets stuck down. So the hardest part is actually trying to remove the backing from the double-sided tape. There we go, take that off, and now I'm going to fold that down onto the tape and press it down. So making sure it's up hard against that outside edge to give a nice edge. And then I'm going to pull down the inside one on the other side and stick that down. Okay, following me so far? Cool. Right, so go in with the next bit and put another section of tape down. And you just keep working your way around like this. I'll try and line it up with that inside edge this time. Not that it's super important, but you know, I tend to be a little bit perfectionist at times. Okay, there we go, that was a bit better placement. And try and get the backing off. It was so hard to try and get the backing off when the glue was under it, because the whole thing just kept lifting off the glue. Very frustrating it was. So what's everybody up to on this Tuesday? It's a beautiful day outside, so I've opened up the curtains in the bedroom, let the sun shine in. It's going to be a lovely day. It's supposed to turn tomorrow, I think, and go a bit yucky. But we'll see. And I'm going to be out tomorrow, I think. That's the plan anyway. Again, we'll see how things go. I can always change my mind. There's nothing on particularly, so like apart from saving firewood, I don't have to be out for the day. But if the cold snap is coming, then I'm kind of keen to save a bit of firewood. And I wasn't out at all last week. Was it last week? Apart from coffee with my friend. So yeah, it'd be good to socialise me, get me out of my own space, and then I appreciate my own space even more. Right. I find just running my thumbnail along that outside edge just helps make sure it's nice and firm up against the outside edge for a good finish. Oops. You will find there's areas of tape that aren't covered as you do this, and you might get stuck to it on occasion like I just did, but we're going to deal with that at the end once we've done all sides, which is why we need to save those little offcuts. Right, so last side coming up here. Let's give it a good burnish. That helps with lifting the backing off. If I fail on one corner, I'll often go to another corner and see if it's a bit easier. There we go, and the inside one. And then burnishing it down just to make sure it's stuck to the tape. So there we go, we've got all four sides done, and you can see on the corners that there's a space where the backing shows through, the card shows through, and also the odd place like along here where there's a strip. Now that's not a problem because when it goes on a page it won't be seen, but if you get annoyed because it keeps sticking to everything, like your mat, or if you're working on paper and it just keeps sticking, this is what I use these offcuts for. I just go in with the offcuts and lay some down over top, and it just means you're not fighting with sticking to everything. It's not about the look, it's just about not driving yourself crazy. So glad I saved those corners because they are perfect just to pop in there. Lovely. And there's a little bit of tape there, so I'll just cut a little, use the strip for this bit, this long gap here, and just push it into that gap. And it doesn't matter that it's not glued down on all the sides, because it's merely there to stop it sticking to everything while you're working on it. And then once it's glued down on a project, it won't be an issue, and you won't see the gaps, and you won't it won't matter that they weren't all glued down completely. Just a little bit there. No, it's not going to work, so we'll leave it. Not enough sticky showing to actually stick the foil to it. So, I mean, super quick and easy, really. The hardest part's probably cutting the frame. You could die cut a frame even. So, super cute. Now, you could just stop there and leave that as a perfectly lovely, glittering, glistening, jeweled frame. You could certainly dress it up with some gemstones or stickers, some fussy cut flowers or butterflies or something. You could do it any style you like. So even though I'm doing grungy, just don't worry about that I'm doing it grungy, because if that's not your style, as I said before, you can make it whatever style you prefer. Okay, so now that we've got that ready, where's my file gone? Here we go. So you want the coarse side of the file, and going fairly lightly. So if you're using sandpaper, you just want a light grade sandpaper. You don't want something that's heavy, because you're just going to shred your foil, and it's not going to turn out. And I'm just brushing it over the foil, and this just dresses it for one. It reveals the silver that's under the gold, so you end up with a dual sort of metal look going on, silver and gold. And I like to get some on the edges as well, and on the inside edge, and just random, like trying not to make it too sort of perfect and obvious, going a little heavier in places, lighter in others, and just until you're happy with it. And I'm not trying to make any holes or anything like that, so if you go too heavy, you're going to end up tearing and making a mess. You can probably still use that, it will still work, but that's not what I'm going for. Okay, so again, you could go that far. I don't know if you can see the difference between the silver and the gold, whether that's showing for you, but it's certainly visible in real life, and you could leave it like that. But I'm going in with this final step, and I'm using, I never know how to pronounce this word, gouache, because this is what I came across first, but you could use any acrylic paint, you could use ink, whatever. This is just nice and easy to control too, because it's a little tube. And just getting a little dot on my finger and going around and putting some on, and then wiping some off again with another finger. And if you get it too heavy, just going in with a cloth or a wet wipe or something and just dabbing some off. You don't want to go too heavy, unless that's, you know, what you're aiming for. My aim is not to go in too heavy, making sure I get some on the edges. Like so. Hopefully this is showing up for you guys. And then once I've got that looking how I want it, then I'll go in with black fingers. Then I'll go in with a little bit more and just make some darker marks here and there, just little bits that are a slightly darker. And yeah, just until you're happy with it. Oops, get the right bit of my finger on it. Right, I think I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to wipe off this paint off my fingers before I transfer it to everything else. Right, there we go, and lid back on the paint so it doesn't dry up. And there's our frame, done. Like, how cute is that? And that would be so much fun, and I just can imagine, makes me really keen for next Easter now to see what I can do with coloured foils. I think that would be super fun, and I'm just looking for a wee picture that might fit just to see what it will look like, because I didn't get out an image or anything to have a look at. It would be really cute as a photo frame. That would be nice. Put a little photo in there, but I don't have a suitable photo cut out, so maybe I'll grab, this is a printable I'm just grabbing out of my file from I don't know where. Sorry people, I don't know where this one came from, I haven't labelled it. As a sheet of little like mini journaling cards or something. I'm just thinking, oh yeah, that's super sweet. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe this little family picture there. Oh, really gorgeous. Absolutely, I think that's super cute. Maybe this angel over here. Obviously you'd style according to the type of image that you want to use. So perhaps for the angel you don't want the black, you just go with the silver or the silver and gold. Wrong way around, the gold or the gold and silver. But they just looks, that even that picture would work. You can get both girls in there. Super sweet. And how about, I just got to try this one up here because she's a real cutie. These are all Christmas themed ones. So something like that. Of course you'd trim off the background or just flowers. Even looks really nice. So there we go guys. That's my Trash Craft Tuesday for this week, using chocolate foil and a box, a tea box in this case. And yes, you can see the branding words on the foil, but you really got to look for it. It's not super obvious, and it's just added texture. I hope you really enjoyed this project. I'd love to see what you make if you make some, particularly if you use coloured foils. I'm super keen to see how that would look. I did have coloured foils, and then a while back I was like, I need to get rid of some stuff, and I threw them away because I couldn't think of anything at the time that I'd use them for, and now I'm really regretting it. But you know, we can't keep absolutely everything, can we? Maybe. Okay, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.